G'day and welcome to the Simpsons Index. It's a Simpsons podcast crossover super special, as we are joined once again by the legendary Dando from Four Finger Discount. He's here to help us review Season 32's Yokel Hero. But just before we get into the podcast proper, and especially if you are joining us from Four Finger Discount, you might be interested in our other podcast, Starring Springfield, where we are reviewing the movies that star the cast of The Simpsons. It's a really fun concept, and we've reviewed such a weird, wide array of movies. Like, we've reviewed Jingle All the Way, starring Phil Hartman. We've reviewed The Lion King, 1.5, starring Julie Kavner. And if you're a fan of mine and Dando's old podcast, G'day EW, we just recently released our review of The Chaperone, which is a movie starring the wrestler Triple H and Yardley Smith. It was interesting, I'll say that much. Anyway, go check out Starring Springfield. Search in your podcast app of choice, or check out the links in the show notes for this podcast. But for now, let's do the Simpsons Index. The Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast. Coming to you out of Side Quest Studios, this is The Simpsons Index, episode 308. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, joined, here as always, except when he's not, by BT Calloway.
Hi.
And joining us all the way from beautiful Geelong in Victoria, returning champion, Brendan Dando.
You're a liar. Beautiful Geelong. What are we talking about here?
I'm like a touring rock star musician. I say that about all the towns that our guests are from.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but do you find your town where you come from is very much like Springfield in some way? So much stuff I watch on The Simpsons, I go, I could see this happening in Geelong.
Yeah. Sydney is full of hotheads.
Yeah, not a lot of yokels, but
No.
they get some bogans.
What's the Australian equivalent of like would we say bogan, I guess, for a hillbilly?
Yeah, that's probably kind of the closest we've got.
Bogan feels more just...
Yeah.
I don't know if bogan is the right term. What's our version of a hillbilly? Do we have hillbillies in Australia?
Because now I'm wondering, like, would bogans and hillbillies get along, or
I don't think they
feel
would.
like
they feel like different flavors of...
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Like your bogan has a ute and is with a mullet.
Yeah, hillbillies would have a truck which pretty much looks the same as a ute, and then they'd argue over which one's better. And
And then there'd be a broken bottle fight.
Yeah.
And then they'd, get to know each other better over a pint of Bundy.
Yeah, that's it.
Good times.
So, Dando, normally we ask our returning guests, are you keeping up with The Simpsons? And given you are the host of Four Finger Discount, you definitely are. So I'll pivot the question slightly. How is your journey into the HD era so far? You guys are into the 20s now. How's that going for you?
Yeah, we've nearly finished season 20. We just recorded our review of Waverly Hills 9021 Do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie, a while back, I went back and checked all your scores. And granted, they are, everyone's entitled to their opinions. I'm not finding these episodes anywhere near as bad as I thought I would. But Guy and I, my co-host Guy, for those of you unaware, I co-host the show with Guy. We think maybe it's because we're reviewing them in chronological order. It's almost like because if you go from a classic to a season 20 episode, the difference is so stark. Yep. But if you're reviewing them all at once, it doesn't feel all that different. It's almost like you're watching the show evolve.
More gradual.
Yeah, and it doesn't hit you as hard. But then once a month we do a classic review. So we did The Boy Who Knew Too Much the week before, and then we did Waverly Hills 9021 Do, and we went, man, this really hurts. This really hurts. It wasn't a terrible episode, but we find more often than not now in the season 20-year-old, the late teens, the episodes aren't terrible, but they're just kind of there.
Yeah.
There's good stories in here, but it just feels like you didn't bother to find them properly or flesh them out. Granted, that might have been because they were working on the movie at the same time, that kind of thing. They were worn out, but I just go, you had a good episode here. Why didn't you focus on this?
Those are the ones that hurt more. The ones that could be good if they just had a bit more time and polish on them.
Yeah. Sometimes you get 2 or 3 stories in an episode and you think, these could have all been episodes.
Yeah, anyone could have carried it, but instead they're all wedged in together, sharing space they don't have.
And because of our random order as well, sometimes it's been a while since we've reviewed certain episodes, but I remember not hating Waverly. I think we gave it a bronze on our thing.
I was about to say, wasn't that the one where that Marge and Homer kind of like they have to rent a different house so they can get Lisa into a different school? And then in Waverly Hills, and then Marge and Homer have this kind of cute, what if we were, in college together thing or whatever.
Yeah, that was my favourite moment of the whole episode was just that bit of Homer and Marge sort of, as I discussed, I've been married for 12 years, and it's not like, you don't like each other, but you're always trying to sort of recapture that original feeling, you know? And that's
find a new angle to kind of, I know.
Yeah, and that's what Homer and Marge were doing now. I thought it was kind of cute. They did kind of drag it out a bit too much where he was giving her the key to his apartment and things like that. And I thought, this doesn't really make any sense, but I'm willing to go with it because I enjoy that aspect of the story. But the Lisa aspect was Bart lies to make her popular again because he says that she likes Alaska, Nebraska, or she's friends with Alaska, Nebraska.
That still stands as one of my favorite Simpsons parody names. I think
Alaska, Nebraska.
If they worked all night on coming up with the Hannah Montana parody, Alaska, Nebraska is about as funny as you can get.
Yeah, but it was just for me, it was like the week prior, she just had the episode, it was Father Knows Worse, where Homer tries to get Lisa popular. And then she realizes, I don't like being popular. I just like being me. And then the following week, it's the same story.
Yep.
There we go. Another benefit of doing it chronologically.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
But season 20 is not terrible by any means. We're really enjoying the show. Not as great as the Golden Era. And I have been keeping up with some of the new episodes. I haven't been watching them all that have been coming out on Disney+. I do like the fact that they're all getting released on Disney Plus so easily accessible these days. It just makes it so much easier to keep up to date. But I watch the new seasons and I feel like they start strong. And then like about 4 or 5 episodes in, there's just this really randomly crap one. And I go, I'm out. Yeah. And then it takes me a while to go back to them again. But I do think that the last couple of years have been a lot better than the late 20s.
Yeah, definitely more effort on screen. So.
Yeah, for sure.
And taking bigger swings and wilder chances and stuff like that. So, it's a better era to be investigating than the late 20s, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Matt Selman, he was telling me that he has a lot more say over being the showrunner now. It's sort of him and Al Jean, but it's more the Matt Selman show now. And I think you can kind of see that because Matt's more willing to take some chances. Yeah. And what do I call them? I call them like non-canon episodes. You know, the 22 short films. It's canon, but it's not. Trilogy of Error, that kind of thing. They do a lot more of those ones these days. And I think I enjoy those more than just the cliche Homer annoys Marge, you got to reconcile by the end episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we've done enough Homer Marge relationship episodes. Show me Simpsons doing a parody of some prestige television show or whatever.
I'll take that.
And this one here, I hadn't seen it before. And it started off with that, and I went, oh, great, this is going to be so good. Homer gets drunk and annoys Marge. She says, don't come home again. This is going to be fantastic. But that was just a simple setup for an episode that I didn't mind. I mean, I've made it no secret that I like the Cletus character. I liked him in the Golden Era because he was one note. And so many of these side characters were just one note characters. They were here for a catchphrase or a little bit. And then it kind of got to a point where they went, we've run out of ideas. We need to flesh all these characters out. A big example of that is Comic Book Guy. He didn't need to be fleshed out to the point he was fleshed out. And I think it takes something away from the character. And in the late teen era, I feel like Cletus was getting used a lot. And it was just grinding. I was grinding my gears. Like Sideshow Mel was another one, just getting used all the time to the point where I went, he's just annoying now. He's not funny. Yeah. And so seeing this one episode being fleshed out Cletus, I thought, I wasn't too sure about it, but I didn't mind it.
Yeah? You asked us before the pod why this episode in particular. Was it because I'm not a big fan of Cletus? And there was a couple more elements, so let's get into it. This was Season 32, Episode 14, Yokel Hero. First released in March of 2021, directed by Rob Oliver, written by Jeff and Samantha Martin, the daughter of Jeff Martin. In this episode, Homer discovers that Cletus is quite the music singing guy and endeavors
to musician.
Yeah.
What is this music?
I was about to say country and western, but it's sort of not really. It's a bit more folk, but it's not like folk. Like, it's he's a genre bender, you know.
Yep.
But so Homer endeavors to become his manager. Cletus gets too big for his britches, as he might say, and forgets all about Homer and his family, and for about 5 seconds, and then
the family comes back, and he decides to go back to Springfield and leave all that fame behind.
Yep. Status quo, baby.
Yay! The status quo. I caramba.
That's another thing with the late teen era. I find they write this story and it gets to the last minute and they go, oh, shit. Yeah. Status quo. Quick. Reset. Wrap it up.
Everybody run for the back to zero button.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, what do we think?
It's a decent first draft.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's fine. There's so many elements, and granted, it's season 32. And I've learned, even by season 20, you got to stop saying, we've seen this before, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of this before in various elements. So this can very easily be compared to the Lowland Lumpkin episode.
Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons I brought this to you because, you reviewed Colonel Homer on the Simpsons Index, but also it's one of the appearances of Albert Brooks that I wanted to bring you today.
Yeah.
And comparing to his classic characters in The Simpsons over the years, how'd you like his appearance here as, he didn't even get a name, he's just credited as Slick Manager.
I loved his appearance, right? But there's two things to this. I thought he was hilarious. Some of my favorite moments were like at the end when he was just riffing, right? But it came across like this is such modern Simpsons in the sense of you haven't actually written a character that has any personality or sense to it. You've just gone, hey, Albert, can you riff for 2 minutes and save us having to write anything?
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if this stuff was written because it felt so loosely improv. Yeah.
I think that's my kind of gripe on this one as well. He doesn't feel like a feature of the episode. He's a crutch. He's something that's like, we didn't even write any dialogue. We'll just let Albert run with it. And what he's running with is, got some jokes and fun in there, but you can tell that it's not purposeful in any way. Not in a way that's, in his previous characters have had improv moments, but they've been fun, mostly because he's got someone to banter back and forth with. Like that whole Hank Scorpio hammock bit works because you've got Homer to kind of, be like, oh, the hammock district.
Yeah.
But with this, it's just him by himself, and it feels very in isolation. They've just pasted into the episode.
Yeah. No, I found myself going, I was enjoying Albert Brooks, and, we're massive fans of the dude, and we've had the opportunity because of starring Springfield to go check out his other work, and it's been fantastic. So it's always a delight when I'm doing the pre-research and I say, "Ooh, A. Brooks, I know who that is." your clever pseudonym doesn't get past me. But at this time I was like, it's good, but I feel like it was at the expense of the episode, which I think desperately needed a couple more minutes, which was eaten up by that riffing at the end.
Yeah, it was, especially at the end, because it's there for padding, and you can tell because there's nothing else to do in the episode, and it's just, okay, well, you got 2 minutes of Albert Brooks talking.
And then the thing is, they actually have a bit of over the credits as well, and you think, so you've run out of time, but you've let Albert Brooks run wild for 2 minutes. Yeah,
and so with that post-credits bit and the Albert Brooks bit, because, I just did some quick timestamps, that was 3 minutes, which is over 10% of the episode runtime, which is so important for, if you're telling a 22-minute story.
That's because I said 2 minutes, and I was just kind of guessing. I'm like, it probably wasn't that long. It was probably like 1:20, but 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Damn.
And again, in another season 30s era episode where they skipped the opening sequence entirely, they gave themselves more time. It was just a bit unfortunate for me because, I'm just going to jump ahead to the questionnaire. What stood out to me is that, this sort of felt like it just escalated way too quickly, and it just sort of felt more like and then storytelling rather than building it up a bit more organically, because I don't hate the idea of this one, and like you said, Dando, you've been on for 32 years at this stage. I don't care if you want to repeat some ideas. Homer's Cletus's manager now, sure.
Just put a clock in it and tweak it slightly.
Yeah. Exactly. But this one I felt like even Cletus just getting as big as he did, and he's on the private jet, and then he drops to Homer, "Oh, I'm thanking you. Also, I'm firing you."
Yeah.
And sort of that's kind of what I mean in the terms of escalation. It feels more like the story doesn't happen, it's just gets told at you sort of thing. Yeah,
a little bit. I mean, to that as well, I think my big gripe on this one's going to be Cletus and his family throughout the entire show and also this episode have always just been a punchline. So to make me try and care about whether or not they're together at the end feels like, you're telling me the story. I'm not, engrossing me in it.
Well, the punchline for them is usually that they don't like each other. They're usually at each other's throats. She's usually annoyed with something he's done and they're arguing. But we did have Yokel chords, which I actually really liked. That was about 2 seasons ago. I think about season 18. Was it Yokel chords? Is the one where his kids become famous?
Yeah.
And it's a similar kind of vibe with Cletus where they get some money and he becomes horrible and he's capitalizing on their fame. Instead here, he's the famous one and he just becomes horrible again.
Yeah.
It's a similar rejig of that story. But getting back to the escalation, you're right. I did like that they got into the main story quite quickly. They didn't waste any time. It was about 2.5 to 3 minutes, and already he's in the cell with Cletus playing the songs. But the thing with Colonel Homer is, those songs are genuinely good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I remember reviewing that and it having been years and years since I saw the episode and sitting there going, holy shit, these sound amazing.
Yeah, and then you got Beverly D'Angelo as well as just delivering an amazing performance. And Hank Azaria is great, but, this isn't his Bruce Springsteen best, let's say.
No, exactly. And Cletus shouldn't be singing. And these songs, I just think there's not enough. Maybe there is, but I don't feel it's enough yokels, enough hillbillies in the States to justify him being this famous, because this isn't going to be relatable to anybody else besides a hillbilly, right? You listen to the lyrics. It just doesn't make any sense how he can go from a nobody to super famous like that with this music. That's what I couldn't buy into.
And I sort of feel like, again, backing up your point of, Cletus kind of was a one-note joke. And when you hinge a whole episode on him, some of the flaws in the character come out. And at a certain point, like, some of this episode just kind of felt mean. Like, I know out of all people, redneck Americans maybe don't need to feel the worst about. But yeah, at a certain point, I was also like, yeah, you're kind of punching down a little bit. This is like not fun.
Yeah. And I mean, just to the idea of getting famous, though, remember when Oh Brother, Where Art Thou came out, and there was a huge explosion of bluegrass. Like, Man of Constant Sorrow slaps.
Yeah.
So you can make it work.
Yeah.
It's just you kind of got to put that little extra effort. If there'd been maybe one or two tracks that were presented to us properly, I feel like they could have sold it a bit better.
It just all kind of sounded the same, didn't it, for me?
Yeah, well, because I watched this episode twice. I watched it last night, but it kind of washed over me. Like, I was a little bit tired, so I was like, okay, I'll get up early and watch it again in the morning. And yeah, but I still feel that even after two watches, none of these songs were that memorable. Like, whereas, Bagged Me a Homer and whatever. Like, I know we've had those drilled in our head, but even then, they feel more instantly memorable.
But even the story in that episode was so much more relatable, with Marge being jealous and things like that. Like, it just had so much more impact. There was a story there that you could buy into. This one here, I'm just going, who's buying this music?
Well, and an episode that also started out with a Marge Homer fight, but
exactly, yeah,
that wasn't the typical Homer gets drunk and makes an ass out of himself. He was just making an ass out of himself at the theater.
Yeah, I already just found something to fix, and we'll get to that.
Okay. How fun is it fixing Simpsons?
Oh, great!
I feel like such a genius. Like, when we'd go back to the classic episodes, it'd be like, I don't know, I'm not going to touch this. I don't want to ruin it. But these ones, I'm like, okay, big genius over here. You can do this.
Let me get this scalpel. Yeah, it's a little bit, what is it, the term, a Monday morning football coach or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, it does show you the quality of some episodes where you're like, oh, look, I don't know what to change. I mean, that you could improve it, I suppose, but it's good. And then other ones are like, well, nurse, scalpel, please.
How about you, BT? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
Look, I don't want to harp on this too much in general and in terms of like reviews and stuff, but it's something that does kind of grind my gears a little bit when Al Jean did get on Twitter or whatever and say, The Simpsons has no canon. I'm like, really? Because then this episode drops, Lurleen Lumpkin as being a thing. Like, Homer's like, I used to manage this woman. So we're meant to remember that as canon, but we're not meant to remember Yokel chords as canon. And
interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, if you want to just say the classic era is, but everything since isn't because, hey, we've been on for so long, I'm a little more accepting of that. It's just the general broad stroke of The Simpsons has no canon. It's like, yeah, you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel the need to reset to zero. Cletus would still be famous.
Yeah, that's true.
See all these grey hairs? That's because I've been worrying about canon for the last 3 or 4 years.
Exactly.
We have a saying now. My co-host Guy just says, "Just go with it." You just have to go with it now. Don't you?
You really do just have to go live.
It's completely valid what you're saying. I completely understand it.
That's the thing. I don't want to go on it too much because it's like at this point that's just what we're doing. Yeah, go with it. It's the only real way to press forward. But every now and then I am going to have to harp on it, especially when it wants you to remember.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, when it's one of the things where it's like, well, we can't really have it both ways. Yeah.
Yep.
How about you, Dando? Sorry?
My thing that stood out for me was the Albert Brooks bit, which you've already covered. But I just like the lines like the Netflix normal and the you get $1 million per word. So don't say won't, say will not. That's $2 million. Just things like that. I'm watching this going, nobody wrote this. This is literally just Albert Brooks in front of a microphone riffing. That's all this is. And I'm enjoying it, but this is adding nothing to the overall story of the episode. That's all.
No, that's it. Just a flimsy excuse to get him involved, which, I mean, like I said, I'm down for. But, if I'm reviewing the episode here, not Albert Brooks' performance. But
exactly.
It reminds me of, there's an episode where Bart goes to, I think it's Fat Camp or something, and they have Albert Brooks come in to be like the guy that runs the camp, I think, or something. And he's like, I think that's the episode. Anyway, it's him and Homer driving somewhere at the end. And it goes for like a minute, and it's just him and Dan riffing. You can tell it's just riffing. So it just gets to the point now where it's obviously, hey, we've got Albert Brooks on. This guy's a comedic genius. Save us some time for writing. Just have him riff for a minute, and that's the way we're going to end the episode.
Which, one of the other things that really blew me away when I was doing my research, this is only his 9th Simpsons appearance.
No way. Really?
Yeah. Wow. According to the Wikipedia. Which, can be wrong, but still.
I'm surprised and not surprised because, like, yes, I associate him so much with it, but that's only kind of since reviewing it. Previously, they were just fun characters, and I didn't realize they were the same voice actor.
I think that's one thing we did touch on because when it was the Heartbroken Kid. That's the one I was talking about there.
Yes.
I think that's where Bart puts on the weight. We were discussing there, how was it that long in between that and You Only Move Twice not getting Albert Brooks back on the show? How does that happen when the guy is so funny?
Wow, that was an 8-year gap between those. Yeah, wow. And then, the movie as well. Like,
I mean, that's the thing. 9 appearances in 35 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be some pretty big gaps between.
Yeah, and then later on he comes back as Jacques.
Look, let's just be impressed they have that restraint, because it'd be super easy to be like, we'll just get him on every other episode and let him fill in space for us.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it wouldn't feel special.
Here's a question. If this episode was in the golden era, or obviously the episode would be better in general, but if Slick Manager or the guy from the Heartbroken Kid were in a golden era episode, do you think we'd look back on it as fondly as we do Hank Scorpio?
Oh, no.
Because the jokes are really funny. They're just not applied in the right manner here.
Yeah. No, I think something as simple as having him rant less in the first appearance, but giving him all the second appearance would have been better, because that's, here's your Albert Brooks appearance, and that's the more scripted part. Then later on is the riffing when we've got the free time.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a good point, Beach, with like the interactions and the back and forth, because when, even in the scene where it's Homer and Cletus with him, it's just, he's talking at them. Yeah. And Cletus just go, I love this man. Like, there's no like back and forth. There's no...
you need someone... Give him someone to bounce off. It's a million times better.
Yeah.
The only real story progression here is to why Cletus has him as his manager is when he says, I can say things that make you feel amazing. He's like, how are you? And I'm like, I can actually believe this. If Albert Brooks said that to me, I would fall in love with him as well.
Oh, like if Albert Brooks said to me, you are special. I'd be like, oh my God, I am a special boy.
I will set
Mum, Dad, you were wrong all these years.
Yeah. I will wake up to that every single day.
That'll be my new alarm clock.
It'll be more effective than a shot of coffee, yeah.
Albert, if you want to record an alarm clock. 3 sales right here.
Does he do cameos?
Yeah.
I imagine he's too...
Albert Brooks cameos.
I'm going to go broke if he is.
Yeah, we're screwed.
Albert Brooks cameo? No, it doesn't look like it.
I didn't think so, but...
No.
Whoever is his manager is missing out there, because everyone would want an Albert Brooks cameo.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah. He'd be too popular, yeah.
What's your favourite Albert Brooks character? Besides Hank Scorpio, that's the welcome to the jungle of the Albert Brooks characters.
Yeah.
I'd need a list to see who I'm picking through.
Well, you've got... You've got the Call of the Simpsons. He's is it RV Bob or whatever?
Yeah. Which again is another one of those scenes where it's like that probably takes proportionally way too long, but also like Albert Brooks is at his best when he can cook a bit.
Yeah.
And even one of my favorite Albert Brooks appearances is just from the deleted scenes of Life in the Fast Lane, where he's interacting with Julie Kavner and she's having a hard time
keeping it together. Yeah. Now I was going to say it might be Jacques, just because that whole rant about brunch is mint and lives rent-free in my head. You get a good meal.
There's Brad Goodman, who I never really enjoyed as much when I was younger. I enjoyed him a lot more when I was older. But I think you're right. I think Jacques is the one besides Hank Scorpio.
Yeah. No, that's an episode I reckon, same here. Like, wasn't a favorite as a kid, but aged well like a nice juice box of wine that Troy McClure would drink.
Yeah, we just reached a point where, hey, we're seeing pyramid schemes now and, cult of personalities. And it's like, I can see how people would get on board with Brad Goodman.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the one that starts with the Tremopoline, right? Is that that one?
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we like to explore the 2 pillars of what we think makes a great Simpsons episode on the Simpsons Index, for wackiness and the heart. So starting out, how was the wackiness of this episode? Was this a particularly cartoony episode of The Simpsons?
Ellen getting a new audience by pulling a lever.
Yeah, no, they really went hard in on Ellen in this
episode.
I wanted to ask you, did Ellen fall off a cliff from a public perspective before or after this episode? Because if not, they predicted another thing.
I thought before. I'm not sure when this came out, but I thought, this is 32, so not that long ago, 5 years or whatever. Not even that.
This was 2021. When did her show end?
I thought before
her show ended in 2022.
Okay, well, there we go.
So maybe the rumors are already coming out. But they would have been working on this the year prior to 2020. So maybe, who knows? It feels like everyone in the biz kind of knew already what she was like.
She wasn't one that got instantly cancelled, though. It was like more of a slow burn.
Slow burning down.
And like, the facade of the show and like how awful she was to her staff sort of slowly dripped out. Like,
and I imagine the industry insiders would have known long before.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it says here 19 seasons her show went for. Holy moly.
Incredible.
But she decided to end the show herself, stating that she felt a need for new creative challenges, none of which she's actually done.
I do love that kind of saving face statements.
Yeah, that's a real getting ahead of it sort of excuse,
Mm-hmm.
But I thought they did go hard, but it seems maybe justified. I don't know, from what you've heard of Ellen going forward. I thought it was actually a pretty funny parody of Ellen.
I think it was fine. Yeah, it was, things like, I don't know, she's already just dancing alone in a dressing room before the assistant even comes in. It's like, yes, I'm like this all the time.
Yeah.
Not letting Cletus sit on her chairs, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I enjoyed the billboard of the "Don't look the billionaire in the eye." Like,
I missed that. Nice.
Well, and it shoots lasers at that guy that looked at it. I like that because it is playing off that real thing where, like, apparently if you were in the audience at Ellen, like, you were briefed before, do not look at her, do not try and stop her, do not interact with her in breaks or whatever.
She's in her zone.
Yeah. Which, I mean, to be fair, if you're a professional, you got shit to do, but also...
You can't stop and riff with every audience member. So, I kind of get that from a professional perspective.
But, also, to play on that with a billboard that won't even let you look at it in the eyes is pretty funny.
Have you guys ever been to a talk show? I went to Conan once when I was on my honeymoon.
Really?
Yeah, he gave me a high five.
Oh, nice.
Sick.
So I got sucked in, right? So we're lining up outside, and there's this guy walking around just asking everybody's name, asking for their story, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why he was doing it, but he was just maybe just keeping us entertained. And there was one guy, and he goes, just so you know, because I was wearing a Simpsons shirt, and he goes, Conan loves Simpsons, but if you are wearing a Conan shirt, he'll give you a high five. And I was like, really? And I was like, I looked at Nicola, and I'm like, this guy seemed legit. I'm going to do it anyway. So I bought this Conan shirt, put it on. He was running down the aisle. He stopped for me, gave me a high five, then kept running. And I was like, the guy did me a solid.
Nice.
I don't know whether it's like an inside joke or something, but maybe it's a case of every guy you can convince to buy a shirt, I'll give him a high five. And he
for
gets
the price of a high five.
And then, Conan cuts him in.
and then he gets a kickback or something. But he literally was running, stopped, went back, high-fived me, and then kept running. And I was like, that's so cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
The guests he had on were... Luke Wilson was on there. It was a very mediocre episode. Luke Wilson, it was fine. He was kind of boring. And then the guy that created Walking Dead, the original comic creator of Walking Dead.
Robert, what's his name?
I can't remember.
I know. It was funny, but it was just cool. Conan was very interactive with the crowd. Each break, he was there talking to everybody, just chatting away. He was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think it just depends on what performer you are, because he's clearly someone who is going to want to dive straight into every single thing he's doing. So, in between, he's not off. He's not going to be off in between segments. No. He's going to be on the entire night, I imagine.
He just thrives off the energy. So I think if he's just keeping everyone engaged and up loud and about, he can thrive off of that, which is what he excels in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like, his commitment to comedy, I think, like, is accentuated so much in that Hot Ones episode. Like, if you needed to see someone who's just committed to the bit and just, like, chasing the bit and trying to find the comedy in it, like, that just highlights how dedicated Conan is to the craft of it all.
It's in saying that, I also love the fact that he wrote a very grounded episode, in my opinion. It has a very wacky B story, which I love. It's one of my favorite homicide plots of all time. But New Kid on the Block. Well, I adore that episode. It does not feel like a Conan story, that one. It's pretty relaxed and kind of grounded. The Homer B plot of the all you can eat is very Conan.
Yeah.
Well, introducing the sea captain as well is so Conan coded.
That could have been me is one of my favorite lines of all time in the history of The
Simpsons.
No, that's a good point, because you say, he wrote Marge versus the Monorail. Like, that makes all the sense in the world. But
Homer Goes to College is another one, and then bang. They're actually three different stories, three different types of episodes. Marge versus the Monorail is just insanity.
Yeah.
Homer Goes to College is a really good movie parody. Really good.
But
and then
still
New Kid on the Block is a very grounded episode with some funny, wacky side plot that feels Conan-esque, but they're three different kinds of episodes.
A versatile man.
Yeah. He is indeed, I wonder if he'd ever write another Simpsons episode. I mean, he made the appearance this season. I wonder if he'd ever write
that's
one.
it. He made the appearance in Bart's birthday. because we did the movie last week as of this podcast recording.
Nice.
Yeah, and he was approached to come back to the show, but he turned it down, saying, "Well, yeah, first of all, I'm busy with late night at the moment, and also I think,
rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Yeah, 15 years of late night. He said, I think has ruined my brain for writing Simpsons.
You're too used to writing a different style of comedy.
Yeah,
so.
But yeah, late talk show attending. Maybe somewhat regrettably, I went to see a taping of At Midnight, the old Chris Hardwick show, talking about people who were cancelled in quite an instant. How about you, BT?
No, I don't think I've been to the taping of anything, surprisingly.
No?
Yeah.
What about a game show? Anything?
Nope.
No, and I keep missing Taskmaster because they filmed their in-studio segments near here, and I keep missing out on tickets for that. They just get snapped up so quickly, but
we're going to be getting to go to a Have You Been Paying Attention soon, which I'm looking forward to.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I love that show. It's probably the only show I watch on actual real television these days. Everything, and I see all the ad breaks in between, and I'm like, it's just all reality shows. Yeah. Everything's a reality show.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, if not that, then Australian news panel comedy shows. But at least that one's got a different spin on it.
But I thought the Alan parody in here was pretty good. Yeah,
this episode.
Getting the train back on track.
Thank you, professional podcaster.
Beautiful.
BT, do you have any wacky moments that stood out to you?
I didn't write any more down. I guess Cletus whittling his own chair, which does bring the question, why was he carrying the block of wood out before Ellen took his chair away? But there were some, but I didn't really bother writing them down.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that the episode almost ended after the first act, and like, wait a minute,
I just found that note. Yeah,
it was not overly funny, but it was just different, and I appreciated they're going for a different angle here.
Yeah,
it was surprising, and I'm like, I think the thing that surprised me most was how weird it felt to see that first screen of credits. You know, executive producer Matt Groening, Sam Simon, James L. Brooks. Wait, no, too early. This doesn't feel right.
It was just nice seeing Claire to sort of interrupt some sort of like credit thing. What is it? It's 22 short films, isn't it? Some folk will never leave.
Yeah.
And
appearing out of the circle there. Yeah, little bit of a Everyone Else Loves Ned Flanders vibe about it as well. Like when the Simpsons are like, oh, we're a show. Like, yeah.
And that's where 22 short films that's where it spawned from. Was that? I've said for a long time, The Simpsons will probably never end. I feel like it'll eventually end up being a Disney Plus exclusive series in some way, and it feels like it's already slowly morphing into that with
pretty much. There are
with the
exclusive
Netflix
episodes.
exclusives, and they're reducing the amount of episodes per season. I think it's 18 now. Is that right?
Which I'm pretty thrilled about. Like, it sounds like they're doing that for Bob's Burgers as well, and I think that's only a good thing because
it gives them time to focus.
Yeah, like, it's all the more impressive when you look back on the classic era and think, most of those seasons had 25 episodes each. That's an episode every 2 weeks on average, and they weren't working.
Well,
like
actually,
that.
I think only one had 25. I think most had 22.
4 of them had 25.
4 of them? Are you serious? Holy moly! I take that back. Wow.
Yeah, I think it was 6 till 9. I think all had 25.
That's crazy. That is crazy. But it's also the time as well. I mean, in 2025, you don't need 25 episodes.
Yeah, that's it. And that was more the expectation of shows at the time as well, like to have that big of an episode order. But so I'm thrilled that they're cutting back because, especially with these 30s ones, it feels like towards the end of the season, they're just a bit running out of steam. Yeah, other wackiness that stood out. Yeah,
well, Brandine rocking a crib with a gun, I thought was a funny visual.
Yeah.
There were some little subtle jokes in there. I mean, I also liked a line of Cletus where he's like, I used to be a 0, but you made me feel 10 times that. I'm like, okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's how I find I watch a lot of newer Simpsons, even season 20 is I go, that bit was funny. You got me.
Yeah, I've got usually I draw an up arrow for something I got to laugh from, and or like a diagonally up arrow if I liked it, but it wasn't it wasn't good.
It's like a thumbs up, thumbs in the middle kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like more good than bad, and a lot of them are diagonal arrows of that was humorous.
Yeah, the snot dislodgers, as we call them.
Yeah,
we did get the gag again of Cletus with his kids, but I thought here, so it's funny because he calls one of his kids HBO Max, right? And after this, they changed it to just HBO, right? Oh no, just Max, right? Now it's back to HBO Max. I feel like if they made this episode now, one kid would be called Max and one would be called HBO Max.
And one would just be called HBO. Yep.
That is a very good punch up. Like, it's a shame, this episode didn't happen 2 years later. But I will say on the kids' names gag, they hit that too many times.
Yeah.
I say
it's the same thing every time you see Cletus.
It's also, they also go to a car dealership. Like, I already got all the names I need from here. It's like, this is the same bit.
Yep. And then he mentions at another point they used to live in a Blockbuster. That's why they named their kids Be Kind and Rewind.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you get one of these an episode, and then even then...
Pick your battles, man.
And even then, like, that last one was just like, I felt like Jeff and Samantha were looking around the room and like, oh, the kid can be named Table. This one can be named this streaming service. And
Getting back to our Albert Brooks discussion, do you reckon he walked in, saw the script, and he was like, guys, all right, I can fix this. Just turn the mic on, get rid of this script, and let me fix it.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Because at the end, it's like, do we really need another Cletus names his kids gag? Get rid of that. I'll fix this.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's it. And even, like, I wish that's where the episode ended, because that post-credits bit of Wiggum passing everyone the instruments and then Jailbird being all like, oh, I play the hacksaw. And, like, it just did nothing for me. And that was a moment where I'm like, the story needed this time.
Yeah.
Like, even if you were wrapping up the story over the credits, that would have been better than whatever
concept
this was.
of Wiggum trying to find talent in the prison, sure, but yeah, just the idea that it goes to hacksaw, and then we spend so long on hacksaw, and it's like,
well, see, get rid of that. As you said, get rid of that Wiggum bit, and then have the Albert Brooks riff over the credits.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
An extra 2 minutes to the episode.
Yeah, exactly, because that's what it needed. And yeah, perfectly pivoting into the heart, despite me stumbling over my words. The heart of this episode. So, yeah, again, don't want to compare it too much to one of the greatest ages of television ever, but, like, yeah, when we're talking about emotional build-up here, we're really just going through the motions. I don't feel
like
sad.
None of this felt earned. Like, so Cletus dumps Homer as his manager, so Homer goes home, and then Brandine shows up like, you ruined him. It's like, no, Cletus chose to leave you.
Yeah, he fired Homer.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Homer's had no control over how he made him famous, but that didn't make him a jerk.
But yeah, and that's the problem with Brandine just turning up and saying that's what happened. It's like we don't see the repercussions of Cletus going Hollywood here and leaving his family behind. It's like, it's just Brandine telling us.
Yep.
Like, and then, the second they show up, Cletus is like, oh, I've had a change of heart. And it's not good story build.
And end of the episode.
Yeah. Oh, I would have even paid it if they, like, went back to that credits bit again then. It's like, oh, no, we still got 5 minutes. Like,
Yeah, do it twice. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Because that's a really thing that, like, I don't expect a big emotional tearjerker episode out of, a Cletus story.
No, I don't think it's possible. Yokel Chords kind of got me. I thought Yokel Chords, they did a pretty good job. But this one here, I was just never really buying into the story. That's the problem. I just couldn't buy into it.
Yeah, well, that one was a bit more about the kids, though, wasn't it?
It was, and he was just he was the dicky manager.
Okay, so this is the moment of heart I thought of earlier that I would like to change. So this whole thing kind of kicks off when Homer's in the drunk tank with Cletus and he sings that song. Homer then spends the next day being like, I'm going to be a better man, a better father, and a better husband. Bring that back to the end, because there's a bit where, Cletus, now rich and famous, is being not a good husband and not a good father. Bring it back to being like, you inspired me to be this. Now you're, betraying everything you stood for.
Fix it.
Yeah, and then that's at least tying back and then giving you some emotional connection. It's not, it's enough to say, the thing you inspired, you aren't anymore, I guess. And that's the emotional core, rather than trying to make the family that we don't really care about the heart moment.
You could have him say, I may not be your manager anymore, but I'm still your friend.
Yes, something like that.
Because, that's the thing that really gets me about this one. In the moment where, like, Homer's watching TV, a bit jealous, and then Marge goes, what about, you becoming a better man and a better father, better person? And Homer's just, nah. And I'm like, oh, that had the cadence of a really funny joke, but, like, oh my God, that bothers me so much. Because in an episode where it starts out, I think, oh, another Homer Marge thing, but okay, this feels like a bit of a different spin on it. And it chases it to a weird degree of involving Cletus and managing his music, or whatever, Homer's being a better person, but then just to disregard it in one syllable, like, it has the cadence of a really funny undercutting joke, but it bothered me. It bothered me so much.
What's your thoughts? So this aired in 2021, right? I feel like they'd still make this episode today if it was something on the table, right? Homer being a father who goes out and gets wasted and he puts that ahead of spending time with his family. It just doesn't feel relevant in 2025 or even 2021. It just feels like that element of the character needed to evolve in some way. You can't have him not go to Moe's, because Moe's is such an institution of the show.
Yeah.
So you need that. That would be hard. It'd be hard to tweak it. But him never change. Him still being this drunk who would rather spend time at Moe's than his family. I feel like that needed to change in some way over 32 years.
Yeah, no, I agree, because the whole, original joke was that, in an era of television where the patriarch of the family was always like the core center and the moral center, and everyone would sit down and, drink lemonade and have a moral moment. The Simpsons was the antithesis of that with Homer. But, that's not the case anymore. They've been on for so long, they're the new normal. And so it's just being normal rather than being a joke of, here's a wacky family with the complete opposite of every other family on TV.
Yeah, and it's not a thing where it's like subversive humor or anything. It just feels like, oh, Bart and Lisa are having side bets and she's once again disappointed he's not earning extra money for her college. Like, that just feels sad. Like, it doesn't... feel like a subversion or a clever take or anything. Yeah.
Well, like another moment of change I wanted for this. So, the whole thing, he gets drunk at Moe's. Marge is like, don't drive drunk. And, then he gives his keys to Moe's and he does walk home. But then he just gets arrested for not really anything. And it's like, something I just wanted to change is have Homer get arrested for something far more interesting than nothing.
Yeah. Do you think that's a deliberate choice to make us not dislike Homer?
I mean, it doesn't have to be anything bad, just something odd. I mean, he does piss in a drain. Surely that would be enough.
Yeah. No, that was my thought as well, because, and it feels like it's setting up more of a musical episode than it ends up being. Because if you're setting up, going for Cletus's musical career, it's fair enough a few other people get songs, but it's really just Homer, and then Cletus actually doesn't get that many songs.
I was kind of expecting, because Homer's having this whole musical number on his drunken walk home, and I was expecting the hard cut to, no, he's just drunk in the zoo. And, or asleep in the middle of the road, and that's why a cop arrests him or something.
Or you could just go back to the old classic blue-haired lawyer comes up and says, hey, that's copyrighted so-and-so, and he gets arrested for that.
And that's sort of the problem with the heart here for me, because I feel like it sets up something much better with Homer, but kind of pivots incorrectly with Cletus. And, we don't get enough of Homer and the family. But, that's getting into what I'd like to change. But, may as well move on to that question. BT, what would you like to change?
I mean, I kind of just said my two main things.
We just spent the last 25 minutes talking about this.
It is an episode that you can't talk about it without talking about what you'd like to change.
Look, as brutal as the intent was on my opening comment of this is a good first draft, I do mean it. There's, potential here, but there's just never a refinement required. And so rather than just giving it a few more passes, I would like to see Homer arrested for a more interesting reason or a funnier reason. And the heart just coming back around, because it just doesn't. The idea that Homer vows to be a better man on the strength of Cletus's music, and maybe other people are also having that reaction, because, some of that good old grassroots music kind of making them think, no, you're right. We need to go back to a simpler time when I'm just a good man for my wife and family. And then him basically betraying that, sure, that works. There's parts there that just need to be stuck together better.
How about you, Dando? What would you like to change?
Well, it just feels like a lot of time in modern Simpsons, even, as I said, again, season 20 where I am, there's emotion throughout most of the episodes, but I reckon only 20% of it feels earned. A lot of the time it just feels like we need to wrap the episode up. So, Marge, forgive Homer, episode's over. Here, as BT was saying before, it's a case of why is he suddenly now going, you know what, I've been a horrible person. Just seeing his kids, it felt too sudden. And I love the idea of what you said of Homer bringing it full circle. That is literally, in my opinion, the perfect way to end this episode, of him saying, I'm not your manager anymore, but I'm your friend. Remember, you changed me. Well, now I'm going to change you.
Yep.
And that would make it feel earned. It would leave the episode on a good note. Then over the credits, you have Albert Brooks, and everyone's going home happy.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can even set it up with, this Brandine's also disappointed at Cletus, and he's going home to, make more of an effort and earn more money by his music career. Yeah. Yeah, damn.
What could have been.
Yeah, and look, as much as I love Albert Brooks, I think you need to, build out the story and then let him sort of fill in the gaps. And just, man, it's such a good point before about the lack of interaction where, why did Cletus bring Homer to that meeting? You just said you're going to dump him as your manager. It's like, here's my new husband,
That makes no sense.
I'm firing you. Come meet the guy you're replacing.
It's so weird. And I do want a bit more of the family invested in this and invested in Homer. I think there's real room for Hart here and to run the parallels of both Cletus and Homer improving themselves. But I don't mind Cletus, getting too big for this, but also, build it up. Don't just tell me that that's what's happened. Show it in a bit more, something more substantial than just one montage.
I do think it's just hard to do with the Cletus character. It's
Yeah.
He's been dumbed down for so long, and to the point where I genuinely, as a viewer, just don't care about Cletus. I don't know about you. There's some characters I just do not care about, and Cletus is almost at the top of that list. I have just no emotional investment in this character.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about trying to bring a C-tier character a bit more depth, but there's also something about, you know, a one-note character. You can't play an entire song with one note, I guess, unless you're Miles Davis. But it's just, it's stretching it too thin. So, pick your battles.
I know I'm in the minority here, but I'm willing to go out there and say this, right? They did this in season 3, and I think they learned their lesson in the golden era. There's an episode called The Otto Show. I love Otto, right? Good episode. But I learned watching that these side characters like Otto, he didn't need to have a whole episode to get to it.
Yeah.
It was too much Otto.
Well, that's why, pretty well the entire first act was Spinal Tap, because...
Yeah, and it almost made you dislike Otto by the end of that episode because he was just mooching. I was like, yeah, we don't need to know about him. He just needs to be the guy on the bus that gives Bart some dodgy advice from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And it is further accentuated with, some of our less favorite episodes like Kill Gil, where they put a whole episode on Gil.
Oh, that made me despise Gil.
Yeah. Oh, and because he's not just pathetic in that, he's also truly awful.
A genuine moocher.
Yeah, way worse than Otto, yeah.
Because if you felt, up to that point, you always felt sorry for Gil. Poor old Gil. Like, old Gil, right? You know, nothing goes his way. Well, nothing goes his way because he's a dickhead.
Yeah. But and to throw to another Hank Azaria character, the couple of episodes that have hinged on Frink just haven't worked. Because,
I haven't got there yet. I'm not looking forward to that. But I brought up Comic Book Guy. He's another one, Hank Azaria, where, like, him dating Skinner's mum and stuff, I was like,
we love that.
It's good for a joke, but you don't want it for, a whole episode plotline.
Yeah. I don't want his real name either.
No, I'll agree with that one. It's just, he was... he never was meant to have a name.
Yeah, which is kind of proof that you shouldn't flesh him out too much. It's like, if you didn't need a name for him.
Oh, and, speaking of another character that appears in this episode, there was 1 or 2 episodes where the plot hinged on Duffman as well.
Now they do that a lot, don't they? Jeez.
Yeah, with his estranged daughter and that whole...
Good Lord.
In this one, what is he? Moonshine Man? Spuck Man.
Yeah, that kind of went nowhere as well, didn't it? It's like, hey, you're releasing your own line of moonshine, and... Surely I was expecting something like, oh, this isn't the way you used to make it. This is a commercial property, and I don't know, whatever.
Well, they could somehow tie that back to, because he says he always gets arrested every 3 months for his moonshine.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a way now of bringing it back to him being arrested, but he can't because, I don't know.
Well, just a symbol of authenticity that I was expecting to come up as a thing, but it doesn't. So.
Yeah, well, they sort of hint at it with, it's made from the pure water that's outside that, I don't know, chemical plant or whatever basically what the joke was.
I thought it was a water plant.
Oh.
Like Evian or something. It wasn't Evian, but it was, whatever.
Well, either way, it's just the thing of, it's lost its flavor because of that. And that can be the whole thing with him selling out or whatever, but yeah.
You actually brought up something earlier, hey, you watched this episode twice. I find I do that all the time now, to the point where I feel like I have to. I watch an episode of The Simpsons now, season 20-esque, for the podcast we do, 4 Finger Discount, and I feel like I forget the episode as soon as I finish watching it. I literally have to watch it twice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some of them are Teflon.
What is it about the episodes that makes you just forget about it? It's too easy to say that they're just forgettable episodes, but it's just, I watch it and I go, nothing stuck with me.
Yeah, it's why I have to take notes because, it's one of the main reasons why, when we used to do 3 episodes at a time, we started out reviewing classic first, then the later ones, but the thing is, at the end of the recording session, it'd be so much harder to remember those newer ones. Yeah. So we had to move it to the beginning of the record so we didn't forget them.
That's just, to me, I always looked at your setup as torture, mate. Having a classic and a golden, a classic episode and a modern episode. I'm like, what are you doing? You're killing yourself.
And then a teens as well in there, yeah. We got over that hurdle. Did you do that as a way to sort of get through the show quicker? As a more of an exercise to compare what is about the new and what isn't about the new, and being able to directly compare, because and I mean we fall victim to it now that we're only reviewing new episodes, is that we don't have that recalibration process. So sometimes it can feel, are we being a bit too rose-tinted glasses here? Are we comparing, so not having the direct comparison, I'd certainly like that a bit more these days, for comparing these new ones and just being able to point directly to something. It's like, yeah, see, look how the classic era are doing this, this, and this. This is why your robot didn't work, like.
I just realized too, the two Cletus episodes both have yokel puns, like yokel chords. It's like, you can't even think of a new title.
Oh, yeah, and it's one of these things where I had to check a million times that I was getting the right season and episode number and make sure I was telling you guys to watch.
Make sure we're watching the right yokel.
And it is another one of these things these days where, like, once we get into the episode review and it becomes clear we are all talking about the same episode, I just get washed over with a huge wave of relief. It's like, oh, good.
Yep.
All right, well, I think it's time for our final notes.
Now it's time. Oh, sorry. And now it's time for our final notes. Everyone's final notes.
Gotta get
Jug band solo.
Acoustic guitar out.
I've even got a banjolele back there.
No.
Come on, let's make it happen. Come on.
Never stop in the middle of a
So
hoedown.
final notes, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Dando, have you got any other bits of this episode you want to mention before we move on to the rankings?
I've literally covered, I was just skimming through my notes and I've covered everything I wanted to talk about.
Nice. How efficient.
Yeah, I've only got a few more, actually, but how about you, Beach?
Yep, I got some. Look, as much as I wanted Homer to be arrested for a better reason, I do like he's going down the street and there's just a different cop we've never seen before. It's like, we have different cops in this city?
I like that.
Does feel like a bit of a missed opportunity because later on Cletus is harping on Wiggum for always busting his moonshine. It's like, but the one cop we saw arrest Homer wasn't whatever.
Just go with it.
Cletus kind of hooks Homer in by being like, well, at rock bottom, everywhere you look, you see stars. And I'm like, that sounds nice until you think about it. You can see stars from anywhere when you're on the ground, if you're in a big tower. There's a lot of ways to see stars.
It sounds folksy when
I can
he
see
says
stars from sitting on the toilet looking out the window. So.
Exactly. Like, I get what you're going for, but doesn't really land.
Star map app, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of the signs is, sign gags on the places Cletus is performing. The first one's like, sure, whatever, you can sing here. And then later on it's like, the perfect midway point through your journey. I'm like, okay, that's reasonable.
Oh, yeah, in that whole montage bit.
Ooh, I just found one I haven't touched on.
Yeah?
I feel like we could all use a self-reflection mirror at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
Look what you've become.
Yeah.
I do like that the prison has that mirror ready to go, yeah.
I like that. Other little bits I liked is, Cletus is like, hey, what happens in jail stays in jail, unless it's an escape. Like, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Similarly, one of Al Brooks's lines of, you'll be bigger than Campbell's soup, not chicken or tomato. No, don't kid yourself. The one they put potato in.
I feel like Albert Brooks could say anything and it just sounds funny.
There's something about his cadence that's just fun.
It is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look, my biggest laugh, I think, was Homer's line of, first of all, I wasn't playing God, I was doing an original character. I enjoyed that one. And at the end, Cletus has a line of, well, you saved my life, then ruined it, then saved it again. For that, I remain forever neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a good chuckle out of that
That's
one.
a decent reset to zero sort of line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And this is the thing, like you just run through a bunch of funny bits, right? So you get to the end of the episode and you go, there was a lot of funny moments here.
Yeah.
But like as an overall episode, it just didn't quite work in the way that I hoped it would.
Yeah, well, I mean, even there's like a few ways the jokes rolled out that I like kind of want to tinker with. And it's like with Barney showing up in the Uber and then Mo going, you're better off walking. Like, that's funny because you have already shown Barney was at the bar before.
Yep.
But then the whole extended bit with him getting into his own backseat and giving himself a start, like, fucking.
That could
cut
be
it
a
out.
fun episode where Homer or someone becomes an Uber driver or whatever, and the entire episode is just the Uber ride.
They've done it.
They've done it. Oh,
I
okay.
mean, sorry. Marge
your
becomes-
idea of is like a concept episode where the entire episode is in
One,
an
it's
Uber
in
ride.
real time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd pay that, but when Marge becomes an Uber driver, they have that with like feuding Ubers and cabs and whatever.
and it is
it's messy.
pointless.
Okay.
Oh, at the start, they're setting up, it's Carl's birthday at Moe's. And when they go, happy birthday, dear Carl, like really accentuating how Americans turn Carl into a two-syllable name.
Caramel. They say caramel. What's going on here?
Caramel.
It's the old Carl Barron bit. It's not Carol, it's Carl. Yeah.
All that.
Yeah. But I reluctantly chuckled a little bit for Aunt Lenny more. That was, it unfortunately got me. Cletus and Homer have a really annoying riff of the horse of course, and it's one of these.
Oh, yeah, fuck.
It's this bit in the episode where they're outside the bar or whatever, and they're trying to convince Cletus to go perform or something. sign with him, and he's like, "I'll give it a gander," and pulls out a goose.
Yeah, that was pointless.
Was that where you signed the contract?
Yeah, which is like,
that was at the car dealership. So
yeah.
Like if it had been something like the goose had a pen in its mouth and it signed for him, but he just literally picks up a gander and points it at the contract, then puts it down. Like, that's not even a misdirect to something. That's just, hey, gander means something else. Did you know that? Why aren't you laughing? Did you know that?
Yeah.
I bet you didn't know that. Well, now you know.
Now I know. Thank you for informing the Simpsons.
And they tried to have the gag of his signature being really fancy again. I'm thinking, are you expecting that we forgot that we already knew he had a fancy signature?
Yep.
They did it again. They're like, hey, you got next, but look, his signature's really fancy on the contract. And I was like, hey, I know that. I've seen this before.
Yeah. Again, another repeated Cletus joke where it's like... It's like, when a kid says something funny that makes every adult in the room laugh, and then they just keep saying that same thing, expecting the same result. It's like, you got to finesse it a little bit more. You can't just say, Brandon, get off the dang roof again, And yeah, similar where like Bart and Lisa are like doing a hayseed sort of lingo and accent and whatever, and he's corrector-mating them. And
Simpsons already did it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm allowed to. I have hillbilly blood.
Our Appalachian representative, BT Calloway. And yeah, I also had the forever neutral line. Okay, that's all my notes. All right, it's time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using a 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just meh, you give it a participant. But for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. Participant. It just doesn't quite get into the okay bronze for me. I think like there's a few good gags in this one, but it's the story is really bugging me, and kind of the punching downness and yeah, hinging a whole episode on Cletus, but I was on that borderline. BT, what do you reckon?
Yeah, look, I'm on the same thing. Like, almost bronze. I want to, because it does put forth a bit more than some participants.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact the story doesn't really tie together. And look, if you want to have an episode hedged on a C character to expand them, you need to expand them, not give them one extra element and then riff the same jokes you've always done on them. Like, it just needs a little bit more, and it would have made it to a bronze for me, but it's just a little bit short. But it's a higher participant than some.
And Dando, please finish it off.
I completely agree. I don't really know what the sort of level of participant episodes have been so far. I mean, I want to say bronze because I love Albert Brooks so much, and as funny as it was, the only problem is that probably brings it down to participant is that there was no real point to his banter as opposed to the fact that it was just funny.
Yeah.
So my mentality when I watch Simpsons now, we go, did we enjoy it? Were we entertained?
Mm-hmm.
And I was entertained by this, but I was also annoyed because I felt like, I mean, this is entertaining, but it's also kind of pointless to the overall story of the episode. So I'll throw in a participant as well.
All right. Unanimous participant for this one.
Nice.
And, just because we like to try and end the episodes on a bit of a high note, in season 32, it's one of the better seasons. Like, this one starts out with, like, one of the surprising episodes for me of the recent years, which was Undercover Burns, where Mr. Burns spies on his employees by wearing a Dave Harbour suit. And
like a concept that shouldn't work, but I remember having a pretty good time with that one.
Yeah, I Columbus, where they tell a bunch of Roman stories, but with Simpsons characters, very Bible story style. That was decent time.
I liked the next one, because I went through to the next episode as well. It was the Do Pizza Bot's Dream of Electric Guitars.
Oh, we hated that one.
Really?
The one with Homer and the animatronics.
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh.
Was that the J.J. Abrams one?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically they're just trying to say you've ruined Star Wars and this is how you've ruined. Yeah,
J.J. Abrams' hand job, basically. Yeah.
But I was half asleep when I watched it, so maybe
differences of opinion are good.
But far and away our favourite of the season is in a couple of episodes' time, Panic on the Streets of Springfield. They do like Lisa gets into a Morrissey-like person and starts seeing his ghost or whatever everywhere, and
his visage.
Yeah, we really enjoyed that one. And Homer gets a truck, and that leads to a lot of funny jokes.
Is podcast news any good? It's good.
Yeah,
it was decent. It does have a bit of weirdness where Yardley Smith stars as Yardley Smith.
Is it that one? Okay, yeah. Because she has her own true crime podcast, right?
Yeah, that's right. So because it has been a while since we've seen it, but it felt very believable sort of story that Marge and Lisa would be into this sort of true crime podcasting thing, and like I feel like they wrote it with enough like knowing love towards the format that they did a good job of it. Yeah.
I'm just skimming through the episodes here of season 32, and some of them don't even have pages dedicated to them anymore. That's how pointless some of them must be. Yeah, so it's Burger King's has no link.
Oh, that was another one
that
was
the one
like...
where Burns makes a veggie
Mr.
burger
Burns almost kills himself eating Krusty Burgers.
Yeah, and then he makes a veggie burger chain restaurant.
Yeah, if memory serves, it's just a mess.
Yeah. Actually, we also liked The Last Bar Fighter, the last episode of the season, which is basically John Wick, but with Mo.
Oh, cool. I like that concept. What are some of the more modern episodes that really stood out to you?
We really loved Lisa's Belly, which is in season 33, the next season.
Okay.
Because that one starts out with like them going to a water park, which...
very coded to Action Park in New Jersey.
Yeah, and you've said it a few times. That could have been from a classic episode.
Yeah,
that
I need to rewatch
act.
that because I've said that a few times, but I do back. Yeah, the opening of that is pretty much classic.
Yeah, and then later on in that season, Pixelated and Afraid, where Marge and Homer get lost in the woods naked. That's really good.
A lot of people... I remember watching that one for the first time and not really enjoying it, but I was watching it in bed half asleep. I'm going to have to revisit it because everyone raves about it.
Look, to be fair, it's one of these ones that is taking a bigger swing and is quite different. If you don't gel with quite different, that's fine. It's just,
I usually like the as I said, like the non-canon ones, And the Serious Flanders. I still haven't watched the Serious Flanders yet.
Yeah, mixed feels on that one.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit lower on that than a lot of people were, but like it's undeniable that they really went for the art in that one. It's just kind of the stories letting it down.
In one that's very clearly non-canonical, go for the swings and
But yeah, actually in season 35, Dando, A Mid-Childhood Night's Dream, that's...
Oh, so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have seen that one.
Yes.
Yeah. And I imagine as a parent, that probably hits pretty hard as well.
Well, I think that... Is that the one that was written by Carolyn Amine? Is that one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so she came on and we reviewed it together with Carolyn.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
she's like one of our favourite modern Simpsons writers. She's like consistently does some of our more favourite episodes.
And it's such a shame now that she's no longer like one of like the... I don't think she was a showrunner, but she was a producer, I think, and she's gone down a level again.
Okay.
That's a shame to hear.
Yeah, actually, just looking through our top rated of the last now 16 years, from season 20, for the longest time, our highest rated modern episode was The Good, the Sad, and the Drugly.
Yeah? We reviewed that like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Bart has that girlfriend, ditches Millhouse, and Lisa, they're on antidepressants and all that stuff. Yeah.
I remember we didn't like that one as much. It's just like, it was funny visuals having the smiley faces. I like the visuals, But yeah, so A Mid-Childhood Night's Dream, I'm looking at that one now. Yeah, I remember like crying watching that one. And being a father as well, and my kid, Elliot, he's just turned 7. And knowing I'm getting close to that age, and then I remember Carolyn saying, once they hit 10, they're not your little kid anymore. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to be there soon. Quick, absorb as much of this as I can. It was really emotional. Mid-Childhood Night's Dream, if anyone out there hasn't watched it, make sure you do so. As the guy said, it's great.
And sort of in a similar vein, Lisa's Belly has a bit of, Marge, Lisa dynamics and stuff. And that's one of the things. Simpsons can strike out in the emotions a bit more these days. And Lisa's Belly is one of those ones that really hit in the feels.
Yep.
And I remember it was like a couple of weeks later, they had that Thirst Trap, a corporate love story. And I was like, what is this shit?
We did not know what to make of that one, man. That was fucking weird.
Yeah. That was an episode for me where I was saying earlier where, they get a few episodes in and I go, all right, I'm out. I'm out of here. I think it's hard for me watching Burns these days because Harry's voice is so shot.
Wrong.
Yeah. Oh, that's been brutal, right? Like, people crap on Julie Kavner all the time, but Harry Shearer's been, truly depressing.
Age will get you.
Yeah.
And he's completely checked out of the show as well.
It feels like it. It's not even just you sound old. It's more you don't sound like you're having fun.
You're just doing this because you want that money. That's sweet Simpsons money.
Yeah.
You think with the salaries that they're getting, a bit more enthusiasm, but if they're not going to fire you,
when we were talking to Hank Azaria in the pod late last year, you can still tell that he genuinely loves the show. He loves all these characters.
He's a guy who seems to have a lot of energy and enthusiasm for his roles.
Yeah. He knows how good he's got it as well. I mean, he's incredibly talented, deserves every accolade that's been thrown his way. But he also knows how great of an opportunity he's been blessed with, and he makes the most of it as well.
Yeah, and now he can do cool shit and be in a Bruce Springsteen covers band. Absolute go off king. I love that shit.
You need to get Bruce to finally agree to be on the show and then have a Bruce off.
Yes, Bruce on Bruce action.
You can have
what the fans have wanted for years.
You can have Mo or someone start a Bruce Springsteen cover band, and he just sings as he would for the Bruce cover band, and then have the real Bruce come on. Yeah.
Dando, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an absolute blast.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been too long in between episodes, right?
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
And in fact, you're not getting away that easy. You know that as we have these returning guests, it's been a while since you've been on the pod, and it's been a while since we asked the all-important sandwich question. So we've been checking in with our, return champions. Has your opinion changed over the years? Would you still order the same sandwich? So if you don't quite remember, the Brendan Dando was in fact a double chicken souvlaki burger.
Oh, that's what I ate last night for dinner. So I think
proof positive, ladies and gentlemen.
Because a couple of times we've had people go, "Oh yeah, Ruben, that sounds great right about now."
Yeah, or some people be like, I would never order that. I think we had James be like, did I say that?
Yeah.
we went to see Disney on Ice with the kids in Melbourne yesterday, and what I had for lunch was a double chicken souvlaki. So
Beautiful.
Unreal.
Old habits die hard, right?
Oh, no, hey, if you're right, you're right,
That's it. Dan, we're getting close to lunch. That sounds pretty good right
that's
about
the thing.
now.
The truth doesn't change.
No.
Well, at least you know I was being honest, right?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, man. And
thank you.
Yeah, tell the good people, what else are you up to these days in podcast land?
So with Four Finger Discount still going, got some cool guests coming on soon. Basically, when we hit season 20, we sort of realized we're not having as much fun as we used to. And it felt like the listeners also, they appreciate that we're going through chronologically and getting through these episodes, but they miss the old ones. They miss the classics.
Yeah.
And we want to start getting more guests on. And we're not going to get a guest to come on and say, hey, Will Anderson, do you want to come review a season 20 episode of The Simpsons? Because he's going to go, who are you? Why are you calling me? No, thank you. So
it's why Will Anderson keeps turning us down. Yeah.
Weird.
So he's coming on in a couple of weeks. So basically what we do is now, once a month, we let our patrons decide a classic episode, and then we're going to be getting guests on to review that classic episode. Because let's be honest, unless you're a diehard fan and you're doing a podcast, you're not watching season 20. No one's seen season 20 of The Simpsons. So everyone's seen the first 10 seasons. So we've got some cool, exciting guests coming on. The Friendly Geordies is coming on soon as well. He's stopping by Geelong, that kind of thing. Just getting more comedians, because I feel like The Simpsons really inspired a whole generation of comedians.
Oh, for real.
So comedians, I think, are the best guests. I don't know about you guys. You guys get guests on a lot, but I feel like comedians are the best guests to have on podcasts.
Oh, and, absolutely.
So that's the focus for us, is getting a lot of comedians to come on and talk about their love of The Simpsons and how it influenced their take on comedy. But we also do other podcasts. So we do Going Down to South Park, which is available for free. The first 3 seasons of our Talking Seinfeld is available right now on Spotify, Apple, wherever. The rest are on Patreon. The first season of Speaking of the Hills available for free. You can also find Tales of Futurama on our Patreon. I do the one about Friends with my wife Nicola. I feel like I'm missing it. We just started a Bob's Burgers podcast, Bob's Pods, on our Patreon as well. I feel like I'm definitely missing something out there, but we do a lot of podcasts.
That's a lot.
Check it out, fourfingerdiscount.com.au, and if you want to support us on Patreon, you can do so. Just patreon.com/fourfingerdiscount. I'm sure there'll be links everywhere and descriptions and whatnot.
Yep, I put links to everything in the show notes. Make sure y'all checking out them show notes, because you can find links to all Dando stuff and plus some of our stuff.
Yeah, so look, we all know that in these hard times, everyone's trying to save every penny. So if you want some free podcast content, you can check out Starring Springfield. This is the show where we review movies that star the cast of The Simpsons. And if you're like, no, I have at least $5 a month, then you can go to patreon.com/sidequeststudios, where one of your perks is you get to tell us what movies to review and also unlock like 250 podcasts exclusive to the Patreon. It's amazing. Go do that if you have the means. If not, we love you anyway.
Yeah, and doing Starring Springfield, like I said, we maybe stretch the rules a bit to include Albert Brooks in our pool of movies that you can pick from, but that has led to
counts.
some of
He's been, I think 9 episodes is enough.
Yeah,
right?
the kind of rule is if you're telling someone about an actor and they're like, oh, who's that? If you then reference Simpsons, that probably. So if you're like, oh, Albert Brooks, and they're like, who? Oh, Jacques. Oh, right, sure.
Yeah, Hank
What about Sarah Michelle Gellar appeared once? So do you do I know what you did last summer now?
Unfortunately, as big as Sarah Michelle Gellar fans as we are, one appearance does not quite make a Starring Springfield make.
By that same metric, if someone was like, who's that? Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't say that one part of The Simpsons.
She's one of those girls that dates Bart at some point. I feel like in the teen era, Bart has so many girlfriends now.
Yeah.
And as much as we'd love to open that up to Sarah Michelle Gellar and Meryl Streep and what all, but Albert Brooks, I feel, is pretty closely associated with The Simpsons. But yeah,
speaking of I know what you did last summer, Jennifer Love Hewitt these days, hot damn.
I saw that floating around.
I did see I think it might have been in your page of
porg form.
Bingo. I'm like, okay, that got a good laugh from me.
As in pop form? Yeah. That's good. Audio retelling of memes, that's good.
But, sorry, I interrupted your outro. Continue, sir.
Oh no, that's okay. Because I also saw someone compared her to Mrs. Incredible. So just to throw a quick plug, that's another side series we're doing on our Patreon page, where we're looking at the films of Brad Bird in our series Brad Bird Watching. Yeah. And revisiting The Incredibles. Holy fuck, what a great movie.
Can you see that guy up there? Can you see it?
Not quite.
It is an Iron Giant 30-inch statue up there.
Nice,
yes, it is.
There he is.
Yeah, nice. Now we covered that one. That is a banger.
Yeah. Oh man, probably the most I cried for a Brad Bird movie so far. But
I'd never seen it until about 3 or 4 years ago.
I mean, that's been because that's the thing. It was a box office flop, but it's gained so much since.
They never promoted it, did they?
No, and same here. I think I only saw it for the first time within the last decade, and it just instantly shot up to one of my favorite animated films of all time. Like,
was it 99?
Yeah, 99. Yeah. And right at the start of our Brad Bird series, we get into more of his successes with Ratatouille and The Incredibles, and coming up soon, Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol.
What a sidestep!
Yeah,
he did a good job though.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Mission Impossible, so this is going to be a fun thing to me.
Bird's just amazing. I love Brad Bird.
Yeah, another one that was like, they all asked to come back for the movie. He's like, I'm busy with both The Incredibles and Ratatouille right now. It's like, fair enough.
You're busy being a genius over here.
Yeah. Anyway, go check that out. Patreon.com/SideQuestStudios. But for now, that's it for the Simpsons Index for this week. Once again, thank you, Dando.
Thank you. I'll see you in the car.
And BT, stay in school.
Superman.
Oh, Jesus, you're going to get me started all over again. I'm Elliot J. O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. We're also on social media. You can follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, and on Threads. Links for all that and more are down in the show notes. And lastly, consider giving us a 5-star review. Why not? We'd do it for you. Now, there's no bonus scenes for this episode. Everything we left in was pure gold, so we'll catch you next time.